welcome back to the Coaches Hour podcast. You're here with myself, Hym, and my co-host, as always, is Jewade Graham. So loads of PT companies run the same playbook every year. Annual gym shoot. Every coach has to be in shoot condition on a set date, whether their body is ready or not. And on the surface, it does look harmless. Of course, your trainers should look like they train. But underneath that, there's a question that nobody in the industry really asks is, what does this year-round cycle of getting lean for a shoot actually doing for their staff, to their relationships with food, to their ability to build muscle, to their mental health? Today, me and Jewade are going to go into the annual PT shoots, why it happens, what might be costing the coaches who do it, and whether there's a version of that that works for the business without wrecking the people in front of the camera. But before we get into this one, if you're a coach who's been through one of these shoots, you're going to want to hear this episode. So do us a favor, leave us a review, tell us if this one hit home, and with that out of the way, let's get into it. So you mentioned that you haven't done any PT shoots, right? Did Mark ever do that at M10? It was not a thing.
No, you didn't have to. Right. I think it probably helped.
You guys all did individual ones, though, right?
So not everyone, but most people had done a shoot themselves. I think it did help the hiring process. But
there wasn't a group kind of thing.
It wasn't compulsory, and it wasn't like a group thing. So and like last year when I done mine with Sean, the guy that I work at the studio with, and the other guy was supposed to do it as well, but he pulled out after fairly early on, like about 6 weeks in or something. And it would weirdly as well, because it would have been the first time we would have done one. It wasn't like compulsory or anything else, but it felt like good because everyone in the same environment was working towards something, and it felt like a bit of camaraderie. So I think I do, I'm again on the fence for this one. I've been on the fence quite a lot today, or in all these episodes whenever they're released. But yeah, it for me, it felt like I was a bit closer to them, because it was we were all sharing the same hardship. But then I do also know there's a flip side that you start to delve into a little bit. So how many have you done?
So actually, funny enough, wherever I've worked, they've not required it either. So UP only just changed that later. So I don't know if they were doing it in London already, or they were doing similar thing to M10 where they were doing individuals. That shows you just how long ago it was. And then two of the guys were preparing to do a shoot. And then I'd never done one, so I said, and I just kind of retired from powerlifting, right? So I was like, oh, let me jump in with you. So 3 of us were prepping for the shoot. And then all of a sudden, the rest of the team are doing it, and all of a sudden now it's like a team shoot, right? We still had our own thing, but there was a team shoot that was spread, and that was literally the beginning of it.
Was that the first one?
That was in Asia anyway, yeah, definitely. That was the first one.
So do you feel, go on, carry on actually. Is that the end of the story? You got more?
I think that's the end of the story.
Because at UP, do you know, I'm going to use UP just because I know they're the only ones that I know do it. I know you said there's a couple more, and I know they still do it. Do you know why they implemented that? Is it for what I think it was for myself, bonding, team stuff, or do you feel like it's more to promote the business?
I think there was a degree of bonding, but I think the most important thing is to show that their trainers are elite. So you'll see a lot of other places where you get unfit trainers, and I think Nick was really hot in terms of you guys have to look the part. That's what was always ingrained. That's
really interesting, because looking the part and being healthy is two different things, right?
Absolutely.
And let's go to bodybuilding. A lot of bodybuilders, or to get into the shape to be a bodybuilder, you have to put your body in a place where it's not healthy. And when I say that, it's not sustainable, especially if you're on certain compounds or doing certain things. Your health, you have to constantly check your health markers and take supplementation to support,
to prevent yourself from dying.
Literally. And it's but on the outwardly, you look like, oh, you're ripped, you're shredded, you're huge, you've where inwardly your body's crying out for help. And it's interesting that companies would promote that. And I say this, I take PTs to photo shoots, so I'm part of the problem, for lack of a better term, if there is a problem. But it's interesting that companies have that at the forefront of their focus, to be you have to do this.
I don't necessarily think it's a problem. I think it's a good experience in terms of like, you should like, if your clients are going here, you should go above that, if that makes sense. And if that means a photo shoot, then you have to push beyond that and to learn and to understand things a little bit more, right? But where I kind of draw the line is whether or not you should be forced to do it every year.
And I think yearly is the problem.
I think yearly is the problem. And I guess there is nuance to it in the sense that you could argue, well, all the trainers should be in shape, like fairly close to, you know, shoot, and then they only need to do a 12-week diet and they probably don't need to get super lean. But that's just the assumption that all your trainers are that way built, you know, in the sense that they hold a pretty lean physique all year round without any issues. And we know that genetically not everyone is there, right? Yeah. So some people have to push a lot harder to get into that kind of shape than others.
And weirdly, I think it's a bit more challenging for women as well, like managing that stuff around the cycle.
Of course.
Like if you're doing a team shoot, everyone's working towards a date and you've got 4 women. How do we know we know some women are affected, like how they visually look, how their scale weight is in and around their cycle. So how do we plan for everyone being in peak condition on the day of the shoot?
I think everyone should at least do a shoot once, like in their, like when they join or whatever, or if they've already done, like if they're a competitor, they've been in shape, like they've shown that they've pushed themselves. I think all your staff should be showing that, but I would disagree that they would need to do it yearly.
What happens at UP if you don't do it? Because like they can't sack you.
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure they can't sack you because like that's employment, like some kind of discrimination law or some kind of unfair dismissal. So
I think it'd be frowned upon. Like
you get like not kicked out, but like shunned.
You'd have to do it again. Probably not that. Yeah. You have to do it anyway next year, but yeah, they'd probably like to see more from you, and maybe they withhold promotions or whatever. Obviously, I don't know if this is the case, but that's potential avenue.
Yeah, it's interesting because like, where do you sit? Like on the whole, where do you sit? Like on, I'm going to say the annual ones because that's the specific topic. So where do you sit on some, like, would you go into an environment where you have to do an annual shoot?
Probably not.
Then let's say you're at the beginning of your career.
Yeah.
So you're just starting. UP is like, or whatever gym it is the pinnacle or seen to be the pinnacle. You've got the opportunity to work there, but you have to do this. Would you do that?
I probably wouldn't mind the first time, but then once I've done it the first time, it's like, why do I want to do it again, but I want to improve, right? And in order to improve, you need time. You can't be dieting yearly and expect like your body to change all the time. You're going to have periods of time where you're in a surplus for a while, especially if you're just starting. Most of the time when you just start PT, like for me, I wasn't very big. So if I had spent all those years dieting constantly, it's like, well, yeah, I probably wouldn't be in the shape that I am now. Right? It's taken years for me to not be in a diet. Like I did my first shoot when I'd already been training for, you know, probably close to 7-8 years, you know, and I'd never done a diet. Like in terms of fat loss, it's been more, you know, muscle building. So, and being more in a surplus or maintenance. So, yeah, I think if you are constantly dieting, there's going to be implications and issues with that, right? And especially if you really push yourself hard to get into like crazy shoot condition, like we all know what that kind of feels like afterwards. That it's not that quick to recover. And then if you're constantly thinking, oh, I need to get in this kind of shape next time for another shoot, then, you know, that's going to affect you in many ways, right? Because you're almost like, you're constantly trying to hold this unsustainable physique, and that's difficult.
So what do you think, like outside of, if there is any, outside of like the camaraderie, the team, do you think there is any benefits from doing like a yearly shoot?
I think from a business standpoint, it's great. Obviously, it shows that your whole team is in shape. That separates it. I think the coaches are going to learn from it. for sure. If you've never been there, how can you coach your clients to go there? Right?
Do you know how it works at UP? Like,
In
because
what way?
they're all doing like group shoots or team shoots. Does everyone just pick someone else to coach, or is it like a
that I
handful?
don't know. I think it's up to you if you want to get someone else. But I think a lot of the times, if you don't have a coach already, and this is your first time, you probably get coached by your mentor.
Oh, okay.
And then they kind of a little bit like how and it was right when you first joined.
Yeah.
Maybe he would then coach you through the shoot.
Okay.
Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's probably most of, because you probably spend a lot of your time speaking with that person. So he's like, I'm preparing for a shoot. And then, the conversation would probably come through there.
That makes sense. Sense. So,
but if you wanted to externally get someone else,
you can.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah,
There's no problem with that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because like I'm trying to think of the benefits like outside of, because I would say like documentation, but it's not really the individual benefit. Like now, if I was going into it now, I would have one eye on my own documentation as well, just to build my own profile within the company, because you never know what's going to happen. But I think when I was first in the industry, I wouldn't have done like, even like at M10, if I was like at M10 now, I probably wouldn't be there because I'm too outspoken, but I would document so much more. Like, because at the time, like even my first shoot, I didn't document anything. I just came with pictures, and I still haven't released half of the pictures. It was just like I did it more for me.
I don't release most of the photo shoot pictures I've taken. They stay within my hard drive.
Yeah, even like the one I done last year, I think I released a couple of pictures.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Ant done a before and after. I done a couple of before and afters, but I've got loads of pictures that I haven't even. And I paid for extra pictures, knowing that I'm not going to use them. It's mad. It's mental.
Little picture hoarder.
Yeah, I got the package like 10 photographs. How much for 10 more? Oh, it's only 50 quid, 100. I said, yeah, give me 10 more then. And like knowing none of them will see the light of day. It's crazy, man.
So funny, isn't it?
Yeah. So.
But it's one of those things where it's like, this is the moment, isn't it? If I don't take these now,
yeah, I'm not doing it again.
We're not going to get them.
Because I'm trying to think, like at M10, if we would have all done a shoot together, I would have done it, you know.
Yeah.
I would have
it's
been
nice, isn't it?
But I think the choice, like if we'd have done it, it'd have been a choice.
Yeah.
It wasn't. But then,
if you had to do it every year, imagine, like, so I had a client, right, where he'd literally just finished his own shoot with myself, and then he joined a new gym, and then all of a sudden he's got to now prove himself and do another shoot, and it's like, he could have used that time so wise to gain and then improve, but he's basically been in a deficit for like over a year.
Yeah,
or like a very, very, very small surplus.
I think as well, like, I don't know, it seems like it would lead to burnout, because I can only like take my example from M10 when I was doing like 30, 35 sessions a week. To do that and diet.
That's what I mean, man.
And pay for the diet, because I'm not sure about UP wages, but shoots ain't cheap. Like the photographer might be paid for by the company, but the food, the this, the that, it's not cheap to go through a prep.
Yeah,
so
you're trying to do multiple hours in the gym, and then you're like, shit, I've got to do. But then, that's part of it as well, right?
Yeah, but once or twice, not.
Yeah.
If I'm there for 5 years, I'm not doing 5 shoots. Like, it's crazy.
But that's it. That's how it is now.
Yeah.
Man, you work for someone and they fucking every year.
So how do you think it benefits the company? I know you said like our trainers are the epitome of health.
I think it's the main thing is the camaraderie, and also you get new people joining every year.
Yeah.
So it's their chance for them to do it once, right? But then it's almost like you don't want to separate it so that they feel like they're the only ones under the spotlight.
100%. They have an initiation as well, right? So that'll be part of the initiation. But then I also think, like, as you were speaking, that should be where, like, you shouldn't have new coaches joining every year.
Yeah.
Because, like, in my head, if you've got a world-class team, why would you want to split them up? That means people are leaving. Why they're leaving? Because they're not good enough? Then fix your hiring process. Because they're not getting paid enough? Then fix your employment process. Like, in my opinion, like at a gym group, like the rate of churn in the industry as a whole, like people aren't seen as a problem. And like this was one of my issues with M10. Like even before I got there, the main man had went through 2 teams. Like at some point you've got to realize, hang on.
So issue when the whole team ducks, man.
Yeah, and it's like maybe not like at once, but two go, one goes,
And then
one
by
goes.
6 months' time or a year's time,
Yeah.
the whole team's different.
It's different, and exactly.
Not a
And
single person the same.
like with our team, like we was together for a while, but then it was like outside of the core, I think it was 4 or 5 after a while. The other 2 or 3 would just
It's always like
cycle.
that. It's always one person will leave and it triggers a mass monster and everyone starts to
like
slowly drop off.
We had like the 4 or 5 that was there for a while, and like 2 or 3 that would just rotate like new, but like the core was the same. But like for me at pure gyms, the gym groups, the big gym boxes, it's all the same. Like you'll go in, or I speak to people that I mentor, how many people are there? The same time, like, we've got a new PT. It's understaffed. Why is it understaffed? 3 PTs just left. And it's like, in my head, as a business, like, not even thinking about the PTs, as a business, if all my staff, like, if as a PT, if all my clients are leaving, I'm thinking, okay, then cool, I've got a problem here. If no one's coming in, I've got a problem here. How do I fix
My
this?
staff are leaving.
Yeah, like,
Same thing.
what's the problem? We're not supporting them in whatever way this is. Like, how can I fix this? And I do understand now, like, I'm not saying like it's an easy problem for gym owners, because I'm working with a company now, like, that's going through the hiring process. I say working with, having conversations with, and it's like understanding the margins with VAT, corporation tax, all the business expenses, paying a salary, paying national insurance contributions, etc. Like, it does eat into the margins quite a lot. So I'm not saying like it's an easy fix, just pay your staff more, but it would be a problem I'm actively trying to solve if I was an employer.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But that's not your job to solve, right?
Yeah, exactly. As a PT, like, I don't, and this is why you would leave, because like,
but it's almost like they're not trying to solve it. They're not thinking about what to do, other than just to be like, well, they want more money, I'm not going to give them more money, so they're going to leave and that's it.
Well, because like, this is like, I give Mark a lot of stick, and I left because I was getting paid poorly, which we were, but I didn't know the challenges that he was probably facing. And I don't know why, but if he'd have just said, it might not have changed in the end, but it probably would have kept me a little bit longer, or maybe the whole team. I don't know about anyone else, I'll speak for myself.
Just being a bit more transparent.
Yeah, and like saying, because I was saying like, yo, I'm getting paid £12.50, I'm getting paid £15, I'm getting paid £17, I'm getting paid £20. I'm charging £60, £70 an hour. Like, that doesn't work for me. If you'd have said to me, this is your £70, straight away, 20% of that goes to, so what, £60, that's £12 goes to that. £12 then goes to corporation tax. We then left with this. I've got to pay national insurance. Well, we're self-employed, so there's no national insurance. But then I've got to pay the business expenses.
You'll pay a salesperson.
There you go. I've got to pay staff outside like that are fully employed. I've got to pay the rent of the place. Out of your £60, my profit before you take your thingy is £25. If I give you 20, I've got £5. I can't run the business. And I'd have understood. I probably wouldn't have been like, I probably would have said like, at some point I have to leave.
But this is where I really like the one of my clients has a business, and they have a PT model where after a certain amount of sessions, your rate goes up. So if you retain that client for like 100 sessions, your commission percentage goes up for that, because they've already made their money back from the certain things, right? Because it's the initial cost, right? So if you have a client for, they sign up for 12 weeks, the initial cost of the salesperson, the marketing, etc., that package initially will get paid off. So once they've worked out the numbers, right, for it to work out to break even, right, after a certain point in that package, they'll be making money past that point. But if you retain that client beyond that point, that lifetime value, they're going to make way more profit, because the salesperson's not getting a cut out of that anymore, because they already made the sale, they've done that, they're one and done. The VAT's continuous, but they're not paying for marketing on that person. Maybe that person's also given referrals, they're renewing for longer. So the lifetime value for that client becomes a lot more. So then you can afford to pay that client more. And that's what they're doing with their business. And I'm like, shit, man, that encourages you to try to keep that client as well.
100%.
It works better for you, it works better for them. At least then that trainer also sees a path where they can make more money. But that's reliant on you performance.
And also transparency. Because like, especially for me, I didn't know. And even for someone else, I'm not all mentioning their name, but they thought like we were getting paid. So we were charging 50. we were getting paid 15 and the gym were taking 35, the other coach Upton moved, was just about to start, and they thought they were getting 35 and the gym was taking 15. It wasn't communicated clearly enough so they understood that before they quit their old job, before they sold their house, before they whatever. And it was like, that person left very quickly, but he tried to make it work, but it just wouldn't work for him. And it's like, I think a lot of these places, it's a transparency. I know we've gone a bit off topic here, but it's still very valuable. But yeah, it's transparency. So like, I think a lot of churn and staff members, like, it's so high within the industry because of like, yeah. And as a business owner now, I understand how difficult it must be with all the costs and everything's rising, and the UK is just pressuring everyone. So it's not easy. But at the same time, as a PT, it's not your job to worry about that. If it was, we would all have our own studios.
Do you have any thoughts on it yourself, like in terms of what maybe the pros, the cons of doing it?
Group shoot?
Just like the annual PT shoot.
Yeah, annually I'm probably not a fan of.
Yeah.
And like, so are you speaking like as if if I owned a gym, would I have my staff, or as a staff member?
I guess from both, right? From both.
So as a staff member, I probably wouldn't do it annually. I'd probably want to do it once every few years. And like for me, my second time, so I just done my shoot the second time, I learned a lot from, like, even though it was the same process, I learned a lot more because I had new nuances, new context, new situations to navigate. So it was a nice refresher. And I found that my clients also stepped up with me, kind of thing. I didn't ask them to, but they just saw it, and it was kind of like contagious from that perspective. So I would do it like often, but not yearly. From a business perspective, I probably wouldn't want to do it yearly either. Because I would understand from a staff standpoint, it's probably not sustainable to keep that up. B, the cost of getting a photographer in every single year and hosting a shoot every single year would probably not make sense. From a marketing standpoint, it would be okay, but it depends what kind of gym you operate in. Like if you're focused on health, there are different ways to show health than a shoot. So I might do shoot one year, Tough Mudder the next, or some kind of endurance events, some kind of strength event the year after, and then cycle back round to a shoot. So like it doesn't have to always be just physique. And I think it's interesting with the UP model to see how that continues, because society as a whole is changing at the moment, where everyone's moving a little bit more away off from physique, and it's more like functional, longevity, high roxes, CrossFit, marathons, triathlons, whatever it may be. So like whether it sticks with the time or moves with the times or stays in physique will be interesting as well.
I think the other thing as well is, when you constantly show your coaches are doing shoots every year, I think the downside of that is that you then show your clients, this is the narrative here. Yeah. Every year you should be dieting. Every year you should be, trying to, and it's like, is that what you want for your clients? Do you really want to be dieting every year, or do you want them to just do the diet one and done? And maybe in a couple of years' time they build, and then, because then if you're constantly showing that, putting that, that's what they think they need to do, right? And then they're telling their coaches, oh, I want to diet every year, and it's like, yeah, but that's not improving your physique.
But then, like, playing advocate here, maybe
it helps them make money as well.
Yeah, but like we say we don't want to diet every year for our clients, but like if they've got a holiday every year, it doesn't have to be shoot level lean, but they're probably going to diet every year. If they've got an event or summer, because like I'm not dieting specifically now, but summer's here. I'm like, oh, do I want to lose a couple of kilos? I'm not going to go shoot level lean, but I probably, I do get like, there's a difference to the health. Like I probably won't damage my health markers if I diet at 5 kilos versus the 10 that I need to go to shoot level. So I am playing a little bit of an advocate here, but
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's like it might be like a negative message, but our clients will probably diet in some way, shape or form. Most years anyway. Oh, I've got a wedding. Oh, I've got summer. Oh, I've got a holiday.
I guess the problem with shoot is that there's no set target as well to say you have to be this percentage of body fat or whatever. Like you could argue that you can do it every year, but you don't necessarily have to be in super crazy condition, but just acceptable for a trainer. It's like a tidy up every year. I guess that could work, but as trainers and
competitive though, innit?
Yeah, we ain't gonna die.
Yeah,
You
that's
know
what I mean.
that.
'Cause if
And
I
they
know
that. They
if
know
I know
that.
I'm doing a shoot with you and I'm thinking you're gonna come in peeled,
Yeah.
there's no way. Like,
Yeah, I'm
If
just gonna come
genetically-
in with a six pack.
Yeah,
right?
if
I'm just
genetic-
coming
like-
with the fucking obliques, right?
that's what I mean. Genetically, you might have more tissue or whatever than
Yeah.
me, but I know that I'm giving it my all, because if I just come in like how I am and you're shredded,
I'm gonna look fat.
I'm gonna stand next to you in the pit. Like, no, absolutely. So like, I think sometimes like it is the gym's fault, but other times like it does play into the coach's ego, because we all have an ego, if that's the right word for it. Like, we don't want to come in looking shit.
Yeah, everyone can look in shape, right? But then it just takes that 2-3 people to be like absolutely dialed in, and then everyone else is looking fat.
That's what, because like,
It's like when you do bodybuilding, right? Everyone could be like absolutely shredded, right? And then there's always this one prick who just gets in like crazy condition,
would be me.
and no one else looks good.
like if we done a shoot at M10, 100%, I'll put myself through the floor, and it doesn't like, I'm just competitive like that. Like if I'm doing it, I'm like, even though I shouldn't, I'll be looking at him and I'm like, yeah,
It's M10 classic.
I'll be, yeah, I got you kind of thing. So yeah,
For sure.
should we wrap it up there?
Yeah. Do you think there's a better version of this?
Yeah, what I just said. I just thought about like, kind of like if a shoot one year, like different goals, like moving the goalpost every year. So like, I don't think it's bad that everyone's working towards something. I think maybe the physique focused aspect of it is the thing that needs changing. So like, like maybe a Hyrox if that's still about, or a CrossFit or a triathlon 1 year, and then 1, 2, 3 years, and then a shoot the 4th year, something else the 5th, maybe powerlifting or something mad.
Yeah.
Like obviously powerlifting is more skill based. You probably won't need a couple of years to get good at that. But yeah, something that's like a focused on different things rather than just physique. But then that also probably means that you have to move away from setting a 12-week transformations if you're going to do that. So
that's it. All right. So I hope you found this episode interesting, and we'd love to know your thoughts. And you can find me at Gym with Him, and my co-host Jewade is at Jewade Graham Coach. And we'll see you all on the next Coach's Hour. Peace.